Let's understand the callback hell problem in JavaScript. So when we do the multiple callbacks, callable, and we need to make sure that one should get called after another with a proper sequence, we have to create a callback sequence. But if you keep increasing the number of callbacks, the code can be hell if you want to debug it or maybe you want to enhance it. Let's try with an example here. So very first thing, let me just create a simple function here, which is, for example, work one. So I mean to say like this is the function that I'm creating to complete my work one here. And let me just say here, uh, work one completed. Okay. Same way, I'll create second function. And here I'll just call the work one and the work two. So my overall intention will be always after the completion of work one, only the work two should get executed. So work two is dependent on the work one. So after this completion of work one only, this should get executed. And in this case, it's happening very well here. Let's confirm with output as well. But the problem comes when the work one is getting executed in an asynchronous way. Let's say the work one function is getting now executed in an asynchronous way. It means that when the execution of work one will be completed, we are not sure. Only the execution will be started with this, then we will leave, then on its own, it will complete its execution in an asynchronous way. So for that, I'll use the set timeout here. So let's say it takes 3 seconds of time to get its work completed. And let me just put this console inside here. So now this work one function is not a synchronous one. It's an asynchronous operation because it is not immediately getting completed its execution in a synchronous way, one after another. Instead of that, it is waiting for the 3 seconds to complete its execution. And the same thing happens when you call any third-party REST API in your application, or maybe you're trying to get the data from the database, or maybe your backend server. You're not sure how much time the network will take. So you have to make an asynchronous call in that case. But the question here is that how we will get to know the execution of work one is completed. Right now, we are able to get to know when the console is coming here, but we should be getting that known over here so that we can call the work two. So that's a big challenge here. So let's try to do the execution now and let's see what happens. Very first thing, the work 2 is getting completed, which is unexpected behavior in this case, and then the work 1 is getting completed. Let me just refresh it again. Yes, work 2 is completed, and after the 3 seconds, work 1 is getting completed. Let's try to go through the code step by step, how the things are getting performed. Very first thing, it's a declaration, no execution will be performed on the function. So it is firstly calling the work 1 function, then it is going here sequentially. Then after that, it got to know there is an asynchronous behavior now. So it is just started executing set timeout and leaving the thread there itself, and from here a new thread is getting created which will get executed after the 3 seconds. And instead of waiting for 3 seconds here, immediately our program exits from here. So this function execution will be completed and there is a separate thread which will wait for the 3 seconds for this execution. If you want to check that, let's see, for example, aim of function work one function. So you can see whenever the function work one will get called, so these all things are getting executed synchronously, except this part will get executed later asynchronously because a separate thread will be created. And now when the function one, the work one function is getting ended, then only the work two function will start. And that's the reason here, after we get the console end of work one function, we should be able to see work two completed. Let's see in the console. Yes, at the end of work one function, then only the work two is getting completed, and after the 3 seconds, the work one completed is coming. It means the separate thread which was created here is getting executed. Okay, so we understood how the asynchronous and the synchronous behavior is happening here. Let's try to introduce the callbacks. So what we mean by callback in this case and how we can create a hierarchy of a callback in this example. So let's say when I'm calling the work1 function, I can give a callback here. I can mention whenever the execution for this work1 will be completed. It means on the line number 5. It will come on the line number 5 whenever the execution is completed for the work1 function. So that time I should able to get to know somehow how we can do that. So what we will do, we'll pass an anonymous function over here in the work1. So I'll say anonymous function. It's a super simple anonymous function. It will have two parameters. What will be the two parameters? For example, here, the first parameter I'll say response, and the second parameter I'll say error. So what I mean with this error, response and the error. With this, I mean whenever my work1 will get completed successfully, this anonymous function should get executed. So where it is getting completed successfully, line number 5. So I'll get a response. Whenever the work1 function will fail somehow for its execution, I'll get one function call. I will get my anonymous function get call with an error here. Let's see. So for now, let me just comment out this functionality here for the work2 because I want to go in more detail about how this anonymous function is getting called. Okay, so we are giving some parameter here for the anonymous function, right? Perfect. So whatever this response is coming, let me just first console this response here. Line number 14. Now you can understand it's an anonymous function which is accepting two parameters we are giving as a work1 parameter here. Okay, now I want to identify that function with the name callback here. And what I'll do, instead of saying console work1 is completed, I'll call my callback here. It means whatever the anonymous function I was passing here, that anonymous function I'm calling here on line number 5. And here what I will pass, I'll pass the success string because I succeed in the completion of work 1 now. So let me pass the work 1 completed. Okay, and let me just remove this console from here. Now try to just revise the things. We are passing an anonymous function, then it is getting received here. The function execution is completed for the work1. Then after the 3 seconds, whenever this set timeout will complete the 3 seconds, 3000 millisecond means 3 seconds, the callback is getting called and it is giving one parameter with it. It is not giving two parameter. You can see there is one and the two parameter. If you want to give the second parameter, I'll give the null because I don't have any errors with me. So first one I'm giving the success string and the second I'm giving as a null parameter here. So now if you see, it is calling our anonymous function and I'm receiving in response work1 completed, and that's what I'm consoling here. So we will come on the line number 14 only after the work1 function completed successfully. Let's verify in console. So let's wait for 3 seconds. Yes, we are getting it. Now here, again, if I want to call the work2 in the similar fashion, so let's try to build the work2 functionality also in the same way, and how we can make the work2 wait for the work1 get completed. So the work2 is also doing the set timeout, and let's say it takes only 1 second to get its execution completed. Call back. And now here, what we will do again. So on line number 18, when I'm coming on line number 18, I can come only when the work1 is completed. That time only I'll come on the line number 18 that we just now proved here. So from here, I'll say, I want to call the work2. And again, I'll give the anonymous function here because whenever the work2 will get successfully completed or not completed, again, I want some area of code where I can do some stuff. So I'll say function, again, the response and the error So I'm passing one more anonymous function which is capable to receive a success message or the error message if any error in the case. And this is just our convention that we are mentioning. The most of the community also follows the same convention for the success condition and the error. You can also shuffle it, and if you do that accordingly, these arguments or parameters you need to shuffle. Okay. Now, when I'm coming on line number 19 here, it means the execution of work 2 is completed because it's calling the anonymous function that I'm passing. And let me just say here console log the response which is coming for the work 2. Let's see the outcome now. Now, very systematically, after the 3 seconds, the work 1 will get completed. Then after the 2 seconds, the work 2 completed. Even the starting of the work 2 and will also start after the ending of the work 1 only, because you can see here line number 18, we are starting the work where the work, oh, sorry, work 2, we are starting on the line number 18. And here we are confirming that the work 1 is completed, and then only we are calling the work 2. But now you can imagine if I keep calling the work 3, work 4 and everything, I need to keep going nested here. And this is not the only case. If I even need to handle some cases, for example, if work 1 fails by some reason, the work 2 should not get executed. Let's see how. So in this case, in the work 1, I'll say the callback. Now the first parameter I am giving null, because in this case, I want to introduce some error in my work 1 functionality. There could be some error in the work 1. And let's say I'm giving some error here, for example, divide by 0. I just want to give some error in this case here. So now work 1 is not getting successfully completed. Instead of that, it is giving us some error, and that we are informing to our callback, because accordingly our callback should start take decision to either they execute next or not. So what's the job of this callback? To just give the success or the error message. Let's come back here. So here in response, what we will get? We will get null. Here in error, what we will get? We will get divide by 0. Divide, divide by 0 here. Now we should get null here. And in this particular error, we should get divide by 0. Let's see. After the 3 seconds, when the work 1 is completed, we are getting null and divide by 0. And then the work 2 is getting completed. But we don't want to execute the work 2 when there is some error inside the work 1, because that is what our ultimate intention, because all these tasks are dependent on each other. When work 1 is successfully completed, then only we want to start with the work 2. So how we can do it? I'll just take a pause for a second so that you can think on it. Yes. So what we can do, so we just now got to know there is a error inside the error. If there is no error, it will be null. If there is any error, there will be some value in it. So why can't we do if there is an error? So we'll just console whatever the error is, and after that we'll return. When I'm saying return, so for this particular anonymous function, it is completing its execution here itself, and then the further execution will not happen. And that's what is necessary in this case. And if it's not happening, let me just console my outcome here, the response, and go ahead. So let's see in this case how things work. So we should get divide by 0 here, and after that, the work 2 will not get completed because we are returning from here itself. And let's again come back here. And now let the work 1 completed, and the second parameter is null. In this, it means there is no error in this case. Let's see the outcome. Very perfect. Now let's try to introduce the third function called work 3, and let's see how we can keep going nested. So we are having the third work here. For example, it just completes in 1 second. And again here we need to say if there is an error for work 2, let's console the error and return from here itself, because the work one is success, work two is failing, then here only you should return. You should not go ahead and execute the work three. So now again, work three, it will accept some anonymous function to accept the response or the error. If there is an error, so let's console it. Sorry, if there is an error, let's console it. And here on line number 42, if we are coming, it means all the work is done perfectly. All work done. Let's see in the outcome. Work one is get completed, then two. We are not able to see the third one. Any mistakes that I'm doing here? Yes, I missed adding a console for the response that I was getting for the work three callback. Yes. So now with this, we are assured no matter how much time the work one will take, two will take, and the three will take, once all the works are completed, then only the all work done will get called. This is similar to something if you have seen like a transaction in the MySQL database. So if you want to keep checking all the works are completed, then you will do your final work. Then you can use this callback sequence. But the callback hell is if you keep increasing this hierarchy, it will be so big, and the troubleshooting and the error handling in this particular code is pretty difficult. So generally you should stop avoiding using the callback hell if you know there could be a large hierarchy can be created. So hope you understood what's the problem with the callback hell and when you should use the callback and when you should not use the callback.